Botswana is known as cattle country, and the country has an estimated herd of 3 million cattle. Cattle rearing is part of everyday life for the ordinary Motswana, and this inextricable link has been going on for hundreds of years.
In recent years, there have been signs of decline and stagnation in the beef export sector, with adverse implications for the viability of cattle farming in the country. My name is Brando Kabire, and this is Doing Business in Botswana.
The beef and cattle sector is probably the most heavily protected economic activity in Botswana. And apart from Botswana Meat Commission's beef export, international trade in beef and cattle is limited and sometimes prohibited. As a result, the normal forces of competition that result from trade are largely absent, thus reducing competitive pressures on the industry, particularly the beef producing sector and cattle sector.
If you segment the beef industry, you'll realize that there is a lot of inefficiency in the whole supply chain. And one of the major things is trade liberalization, where Botswana Meat Commission is supposed to be. I think it has done a very good job by facilitating the export of the beef all over the world. But I think it's time now to allow other players in the market to take forward and optimize the opportunities that are available. So by so doing, I think BMC should remain a platform for all those aspiring would-be food processors, would-be all other investors that are interested in the beef industry to take forward this illustrious industry. And my belief is that BMC will become effective and efficient. And in that manner, it will yield the required results, more especially when you talk about the selling price for farmers. Because farmers, time and again, they are always crying foul in terms of the prices that they get from their products. And I believe that it's high time that actually when competition is in, a lot of these aspiring investors in the beef industry will bring competition, will bring efficiency, and will also up the prices because they will be actually getting different prices or rewards from different markets. And BMC should remain there as a platform for those investors to move forward this illustrious industry.
The cattle and beef industry has traditionally played an important role in Botswana's economy and society, with significant contributions to GDP, exports and employment. 80% of the cattle that the Botswana Meat Commission exports comes from the communal farmers because this allows smallholder farmers to also access the export market.
BMC's mandate is that it has to buy cattle from all the farmers which are presented to it, and then prepare them and prepare meat products and export the products to much of what we export is to Europe and to the SADC region. So it's basically a slaughter facility, prepares the products, but primarily for export. Basically, we export to almost every country. We could also, if need be, I think we sometimes, for example, currently we're exporting live cattle to Zimbabwe, so we are also in the process of exporting when necessary live cattle.
There's a clustering program which the government has started, where farmers of a certain environment or certain location to allow those farmers to sell to countries like DRC, Angola, Zimbabwe. So I think maybe with time it will happen. We wish it does happen. Because if it does happen, we could get good prices somewhere else.
The Botswana beef industry has grown over the years, mainly because at independence, beef was one of the major exports for this country. And also you should realize one thing, that Botswana beef has played even societal role because many farmers in this country, they regard beef as one of their riches. So in a nutshell, beef has played a continuous role in enhancing the lives of our people. And hence, there is a need to develop it further and look at the trade liberalization and making sure that actually we achieve or we optimize the opportunities that are available in the world markets.
To ensure customer confidence, Botswana applies a complex cattle identification and traceability program called the Livestock Traceability System. This system uses radio frequency devices which are scanned to provide animal history back to the national database.
The traceability issue is tackled through or at a government level. I think in the last 6 or 5 years, they instituted what's called the Livestock Traceability System, or LITS in short, which places a reticular unit into the stomach of an animal, which you can read. The idea being that when the animal is born, you put in, after 3 months, you put in that reticular unit, then that gives location of where it's born and what happened through it during that period. So when it comes here, you read that particular bolus system, and then when you prepare the product from that animal, it has to show in the products that we are sending across.
It has proven over time that many of our farmers are communal, and communal farming has a lot of challenges. One, cattle are not controlled. Secondly, the certification of animals has proven to be one of the problematic in markets like European Union or any other market, that they want all these animals to be certified from origin and to have a track record of the time that that animal was the production period, right to where actually it was slaughtered. And this has proven to be a very big challenge for communal farmers. And I believe that with other markets that have less stringent conditions, there will be a lot of opportunities for all these upcoming or aspiring investors.
One of the biggest challenges Botswana's cattle and beef sector face is foot and mouth, especially in the northern parts of the country.
The country is divided into zones, which are known as the green and the red zones. Now, these zones are demarcated areas that are prone to disease and those that are not. The green zones are located mostly in the southern parts of the country and are disease-free. And as such, most of the beef products are exported from these regions.
One of the biggest challenges is the outbreak of diseases. That in some areas is well controlled. In some areas, it is proven to be problematic in the sense that it doesn't go away as one would have wished.
No, the foot and mouth is a critical challenge, and let me put it that way. I think the northern part of the country is constantly having outbreaks. What we have done as a country, which is different from other countries, we divided the country into zones where you have used the fences to try to fence that. So much of the country is what we call the green zone. There are individual zones that the labels, I think, vary, but much of the southern part of the country is the green zone. So the zoning really is meant to manage the foot and mouth, and I think it just worked quite well for us.
Besides foot and mouth, Botswana is generally a dry country with very low rainfall. Drought affects cattle grazing areas, water points, causing cattle mortality and reducing calving percentages.
The challenges that we face as farmers is basically rain, because nowadays of this climate change. And then when I was a small boy, November this time, October this time, we'll be having some rains, but as you can see now in the background, it's quite dry.
Botswana, part of Southern Africa. Southern Africa is prone to drought. You have most of the cattle dying, and if they die, obviously they reduce the number of the head and they reduce the source of the input into the plant itself. So that's a major problem in itself.
The cattle industry in Botswana has great potential. The Commission is making new inroads into Europe, North Africa, the Middle East, Hong Kong, and the rest of Asia. The company is also in the process of valuating its business with the hope of attracting investors and new partners.
Currently, we have a project that is that will be going on, I think, for about 15 months. The reason being that what we hope to do with that is that we want to value the business here, not only the assets that we have, but the total business of what we do, the markets, so the access to the markets and other things. The reason for doing that is that we want to have investors coming, and we need to know what value do we have, so what is it that we can present to them. So we are open for investors to participate in the process that we have, but I think we currently are trying to organize ourselves in such a way that when we invite a person, we know what value is available.
BMC should act as a facilitator to allow investors to use their facility to explore a lot of markets that have not been explored before, as well as also to say to BMC, we are here to open as many markets as possible. European Union has been good for many, many years, but we need to have as many markets as possible, so that also we need to know that the Botswana beef doesn't only reach one corner of the world, it goes all over the world. So as a result, I believe that by opening up the trade liberalization, BMC will actually even open its own potential by exploring and even achieving the markets that they've not achieved before.
The beef and cattle sector remains important to Botswana, especially to the rural economy, and the government is in the process of making drastic changes that are designed to generate significant export earnings and provide a vibrant base for local farmers. From me, Brando Kiabilwe, good evening.